So, Marvel's Eternals. Let me give you my thoughts on this film. Okay, so Disney Plus dropped the Eternals the other day. Wednesday, was it? Yeah, now, I never went to see the Eternals when it came out in the cinema. I didn't see Shang Chi when it came out in the cinema. I don't know why, just, yeah, I'm a bit selective what I go and see now. So, this film, The Eternals, obviously, this is Marvel's sort of latest film, just prior to Spider-Man. And it's about this group of Eternals that have been living on Earth for thousands of years. They've sort of structured our society. They've led us the way, so to speak, but without interfering too much, but just guided the human race through evolution. They're all characters that are based in a sort of mythology, you know, like Icarus and all that. So all our mythological stories have actually come from these individuals, so to speak. It's a multicultural race of individuals, as in, you know, they're different human races, so to speak. And they're here on Earth fighting deviants. And they've been planted here by the Celestials, who have sort of created them, and, you know... and that's pretty much what the film's about. These people on Earth that are here helping to guide. Anyway, what in the context of the story, what goes into play is that it comes to light that the Celestials create life on a planet. They allow that life to grow and you know, and become fruitful and whatnot. But they're using the planet as a birthplace for a new Celestial that is basically growing in the centre of the planet. And when the planet becomes populated to a vast degree with enough energy, then that young Celestial sort of breaks free and is a new life of Celestial that then will go on to create other planets to do the same with. And they put down these individuals, the Eternals, onto the planet to stop the deviants, these creatures called deviants, from wiping out the human race. Now, the deviants have also been created by the Celestials, but what they were there for was to you know, say the dinosaurs, when a species got too big, they would sort of get the numbers down, and so that the human race could grow. But these creatures evolve somewhat, and this sort of thing, and all this sort of nonsense going on within the film. So yeah, the film's based on a comic book series by a writer called Jack Kirby, a very famous writer. Now, The Eternals is not a comic book that I have any familiarity with. As you know, if you've seen my stuff, I am a comic collector, I'm a comic reader. I've been for 35 to 40 years. But I have issue when it comes to sort of science fiction in comic books. I find it hard to digest and hard to read. I'm more interested in sort of like individual loner street level kind of heroes, as opposed to these vast teams of people, and especially the sci-fi in space and all that. Although I like sci-fi films and TV shows, I don't in comic book form. So yeah, so not really a property that I've had any interaction with as a reader. It's stuff I would have ignored. Now, it's got a decent cast to it. It's got the girl from Humans, the TV series, who was also in Captain Marvel, I believe she was blue in that. She's your main star of it. It's got half the cast of Game of Thrones. Well, it's got Kit Harington and Richard Madden, sorry, his name is, I believe. They're both in it. Kit Harington in a smaller support role. But yeah, Richard Madden plays Icarus, who's sort of like got Superman-like powers. He can fly and he's got laser beams from his eyes. They all have different powers within this group, and yeah. So I'm not going to get too much into that side of it, but my thoughts on this film now, and my thoughts in general, because it's, you know, it goes for Marvel for this era of Marvel film, shall we say, after the pandemic. So luckily before the pandemic, we got to the end of Phase 3 of the MCU with Endgame, which was a fantastic film and a fantastic 3 phases of the MCU, and it could have ended there, and I'd have been very happy. But since then, not including the Spider-Man film that came after Endgame, we're talking about the stuff that's come since the pandemic. It's all been somewhat mediocre, with the exception of the new Spider-Man film. Okay, we've had Black Widow, which was a fine film, you know, but it lacks something. It's a film that was about 15 movies too late within the context of the MCU. It didn't give us much forward going. Then we had Shang Chi, which me personally, I know people liked it, but again, Shang Chi, not a character I've really read or anything like that, and not a particularly great film. And now we've got Eternals, which I've watched in 2 parts. I had to stop it halfway through because I was getting a bit bored with it, and then I finished it off tonight. I forced myself to finish it off, never a good thing. So the film itself, yeah, it's a Marvel film. It's nicely made, it's competently made, it's competently directed, special effects are great, all this sort of thing. It all looks very good, but it's just not very... I'm not emotionally attached to the story or anyone within the film, within the context of the film. There's no character that I would say, by the end of the film, I'd say, I'd really love to see that character again. It was just very, very sort of... The Marvel films lack something. They're lacking something. Captain Marvel before, that lacked it. Black Widow's lacked it. Shang-Chi's lacked it. And now this lacks it. I don't know if Marvel have lost their way now, you know, in what they're doing. The thing is, they're doing characters like this, yeah, or stories like this. And although they do still draw from the comic books to a degree, there's no real... strong narrative that they can draw from. Characters like Black Widow, Shang-Chi, they've not had, and the Eternals, although with Jack Kirby, they've not had definitive runs, definitive famous runs like Civil War was a famous run. Winter Soldier, very, very famous within comic book circles. You know, the oldest Marvel films have taken from even like pretty recent. Civil War and all that's pretty recent. Ragnarok, you know, well, that's an older storyline, but the Hulk stuff within it, the Planet Hulk stuff, that it's all taken from newer stuff. But the definitive runs that were very well known and comic consumers loved, and these characters haven't got that, so the stories that they're creating are fresh stories out of the writers' heads, so you might be losing something there. I don't know, but the film it's okay. It got better towards the end, I'll give it that, but overall it just wasn't... I don't know, it just lacks something with me. I didn't have a connection to it, which is such a shame, really is, because I love Marvel. I mean, last year I didn't put a Marvel film apart from Spider-Man in my top 10, but whereas years before that, my top 10 movies would have been filled with Marvel films because I love all of them in the lead up to the end of Phase 3. But now it's kind of and going off and, you know, I don't know, a bit samey, a bit boring, although the TV stuff is where Marvel's got it made now. The TV stuff has all been excellent. Loki was excellent, WandaVision was excellent, Captain America, you know, the Winter Soldier and Bucky, or whatever it is, Falcon and Winter Soldier, that was excellent. What If was excellent. Hawkeye has been brilliant. So the TV's where it's at for me at the moment, as opposed to in film. Okay, Spider-Man was okay, not the best Spider-Man film, but you know, it was adequate. So this film is just, yeah, for me, it's sort of middle of the road. I need to give it a watch again several months down the line, and digest it a bit better. It's just not, first time viewing was just a bit there. Do you know what I mean? So thumbs up, thumbs down, sort of thumbs middle of the road for me on this one, and that's it. Okay, so now it's trivia time. Yes, so now in my reviews, I'm going to do a little section at the end where I'll give you some little facts, some little fun things about the film itself. So let's get into it. Okay, number 1. The Eternal ship is called the Domo. The Domo was actually a Eternal character from the comic books, which didn't make it into the film, so they utilised the name as the vessel. Number 2. This is the second longest running MCU movie after Endgame. Yes, it's even longer than Infinity War. Okay, number 3. In Russia, this film was actually rated 18 plus because of a same-sex relationship and an on-screen kiss by a gay couple. In Russia, that is illegal. And finally, this is the 26th film in the MCU, and also the first MCU film where no other Marvel character makes an appearance, a guest appearance. So that's it. That's me done for this review. This is AJ. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed that, again, please consider hitting the subscribe button. Come joining me on the channel. Leave me a comment. I do reply to all comments. Let me know your thoughts on this movie. Did you enjoy it? Didn't you enjoy it? Where do you rank it within the MCU? And all that sort of stuff. Anyway, I'm getting going. I'll see you later all. Take care and goodbye.